Hey, we're back, and welcome back to Mary Elizabeth Jones's Variety Hour Part Two.
Part duh.
Part two.
For all
So
you Hot Shots fans out there.
yes.
Yes. So I've been trying to keep up with all the stuff on television. You
Mhm,
know, a lot of my friends don't even have a TV anymore,
mhm.
and they hate having to sit and watch sit in a chair and watch commercials between things and everything.
Yeah, yeah,
They do everything online. They watch all
yeah,
their everything on YouTube. And actually you could do a lot of that stuff. Meaning
yeah.
that, say you like the show, like the late night talk shows,
Uh-huh.
like Jimmy Fallon or Colbert or any of them, Saturday Night Live,
Mhm.
anything. You don't have to watch them. In fact, you could go right to YouTube,
That's what I
their
usually do.
page, and see. Maybe you don't want to sit through the interview with Marvin Hamlish.
Yeah.
No, you might, or with
I mostly watch movies on YouTube sometimes.
you watch movies on YouTube. I mean, you can
Yeah,
watch,
I
and it's
mean,
all free. So
yeah, I mean, you don't have to pay for
in
them.
fact, this show,
Right.
this show's on YouTube,
Yeah, and it's free, so everybody can watch
and
for
you get what
free.
you pay for.
Yeah.
And it's worth it's free and it's worth twice the price.
Yeah.
So anyway, I've been keeping up with stuff, and I've been watching. I tell you what, I think I told you this. I've been watching all this Ed Sullivan show stuff,
Yes.
all this Johnny Carson stuff, all this stuff from the 1950s, variety shows, old time comedians, vaudeville acts.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm just kind of captivated by a lot of that stuff.
Right, right.
And you were telling me about Phyllis
Phyllis Diller. Phyllis Diller.
Phyllis
She
Diller.
was a comedian back in the 1960s and 70s. And she was still performing, before the day she died. So,
She actually
um,
performed after she was dead. You know how she
yes.
did that?
How?
The last few years of her life, she was on Family Guy,
Hmm.
and she played Peter's mother, the voice of Peter's mother. And then I think after she died, so they record those things like a year ahead of time or
Yeah.
so, and thus they were using her voice for almost
Oh.
a whole year's show after that.
Oh.
And a few times she appeared as Peter's mother.
Okay.
And then so Phyllis Diller was still active.
Right.
Funny, probably the funniest woman comedian ever. I mean, you think of the Joan Rivers and people like that,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Roseanne Barr and Tony Fields, stuff like that. But she started all. She was a housewife until she was like 45 or something.
Yeah,
Tell us about
she was a single mother, and
that.
she was like struggling with with her kids because she was a single mom,
Mhm.
and then she lived in these like poorhouses, like the
Oh, really?
projects and all that stuff. Because I saw in
Phyllis
the
Diller?
biography years
Oh,
ago
Phyllis Diller.
about that.
Okay,
Yes,
but then she got rich.
and then she got rich and became a comedian.
But
So
she was. You don't get rich by being a comedian. You get rich
exactly, yeah, I
becoming a
know.
very funny comedian.
Yes,
And
yes,
she was on. I mean, she was on the Merv Griffin show,
yeah,
Carson.
yeah.
Bob Hope used to put her on all the time. She was in Bob Hope's movies as
Right.
his maid or something. She had this big head of hair on her and
Yes,
everything.
yeah.
So what happened was, I would watch Phyllis Diller when I was a kid,
Uh-huh.
and we thought, no one on TV looked like Phyllis Diller. Big head of hair, real skinny, and all this
Yes.
stuff.
She was also on Scooby Doo. She did the voice on Scooby
She
Doo
did a
too.
voice on Scooby. Well,
They had a cartoon of
she
her
did lots of
actually.
stuff,
Yeah.
and I remember, I think I've told this joke a million times. My sister Kathleen used to be a dental hygienist,
Yeah.
and then they made a movie about one of the patients who was her patient was John List, the guy who murdered his family in New Jersey,
Yeah.
and they took him like 20 years to find him, and then they
Yeah.
found him in Richmond, and I asked my sister Kathleen about him. Well, anyway, that's another story. But what
Yeah.
happened was they made a movie with Robert Blake, and of all people, playing the guy who murdered his family. And uh, and uh, and I said to my sister Kathleen, did you see that show about your patient John List? And she said, no, no. I said, was I in it? I said, yeah. There was an actress who there was a scene where he gets his teeth cleaned, and you won't believe the actress they cast to play you, Phyllis Diller. Phyllis Diller had a lot of plastic surgery. She was like one of the first, before Joan Rivers, she was one of the first to come clean about her plastic surgery.
Yeah.
And while you were saw, and she looked a lot better as she got older than she did when she was young. If you want to see what she looks like young, if you want to see what she looks like the first time she ever appeared on television, she was, I think, a housewife that was, I think, moonlighting as a comedian
Yeah.
in the nightclubs, and she's on You Bet Your Life with Groucho Marx.
Yeah.
And You Bet Your Life is back on again with Jay Leno, same type of show, where they just talk and have fun, and then they answer a bunch of quiz show questions for money.
Yeah.
But she's on there, and you get to see Phyllis Diller, and that was her first time ever
Oh,
on
wow,
TV.
yeah.
And of course, when you appear on a big show like that in the day, 1950s, that kind of, oh, now people are going to hire me, and she had a very successful career. Bob Hope used her a lot. She uh, I understand she was a very good pianist, Phyllis
Yeah.
Diller,
Oh.
and she actually has a couple of albums on her fame
Oh, yeah.
of her playing the piano. I think it was like classical, like Chopin type music,
Yeah.
and she was quite accomplished. But she was a comedian, and that's what people
Right.
wanted to see her do.
Right. Yeah.
So Phyllis Diller was great. And what is your opinion? What would you like her see her do?
I thought she was really funny.
Mhm.
I would like to see her play the piano.
Yeah,
And because I didn't know she was a musician.
yeah.
Because I thought she was just a comedian.
Well,
That
a
was
lot of
it.
people, have
Yeah.
some do other things.
Right. Right.
Like you're a good dancer and a
Yeah.
singer and an
Yeah.
actress.
Yes.
And I'm still finding out what I do.
I'm all three. I'm all
You're a triple
three.
threat.
Triple threat. Yes. Triple
Now,
threat.
well, I could tell you, Phyllis Diller had a TV show. The Phyllis Diller show or something. It was a comedy show where she was a housewife or something, and she was, just typical funny what she would do. And I remember there was a show where I think she lived to be in her late 80s, but I'm not sure about that. But I mean, she lived a long time, and there was a show called um, it was called Phyllis Diller's 100th birthday. They said they might as well celebrate it now rather than 20 or 30 years from now.
Yeah.
And so it was just a roast where all these comedians came up and
Oh yeah.
were
Those
joking about her.
they
Yeah,
had like the Dean Martin celebrity
yeah.
roast
I think
and
she
all
was probably
that.
on a few of those too.
Yeah.
She was probably a very good roast comedian and
Yeah.
everything. She was very
Because
funny in
when I
almost
was a
anything.
kid, I used to watch those, and
Weren't they great?
yeah, at first I thought they were like would they be in a roast? I thought they were like eat like
They're going to eat them. It is funny. I remember once I saw a commercial. The first roast I ever saw was, I think, Carol O'Connor
ah
was the host of a roast for Sammy Davis,
oh yeah I
and
remember
but
that.
the ad was a cartoon. It was really weird. It was Archie Bunker on a skewering on a spit, a rotisserie,
Yeah yeah
and and Sammy Davis was on the thing twisting around. So wow, they're going to do that on the show? Said no, they're just going to tell a bunch of jokes. I go, oh okay,
yeah
I'll watch that.
yeah
And I thought it was great because to me the funniest type of humor is insults.
yeah
I did a show for many years with Gorgeous George, and basically it was just insults the whole time.
yeah yeah
But always when you're in a show with insults, always be dish it out, of course, and make it funny,
yeah
but be sure you can take it too. Because
yeah
the problem with a lot of people these days is they're good at insulting other people, but they're
right
not a good. So I tell you, so when people insult me,
uh-huh.
let them insult me.
Just
I have a whole you fool with the bull, you get the horns. You're going to get even worse coming your way from
yeah
me, insult wise.
just like Sunny and Cher said.
Yes.
They insult each other sometimes.
Well, that was all scripted. But yeah,
Yeah.
but it was all good natured and everything.
Yeah, I mean,
Though
it
when
was
you watch them that they're
funny.
divorced now, then you say, well, I wonder if they really meant those insults,
Yeah.
or was all in the script. I think it was all. I mean, I think it was. We mentioned earlier on another show, Louis Prima and Keely Smith.
Yeah.
Sonny Cher based that insult, the wife being cool and collective, and the husband being this this maniac type of guy who thinks he's so funny, and then the wife cuts him with one thing, and Louis Prima and Keely Smith. In fact, they had the same national.
Like Sonny Bono was like the goofy one.
That's right.
And Cher was like the sophisticated.
In fact, Sonny gave an interview and he said he based his whole that whole routine on the TV show that they did before every show was based on Louis Prima, who was Italian, and Keely Smith, who was American Indian, just like Cher was. So they didn't even have to really. They changed the names, but they could have used the same jokes.
Sonny Bono's Italian.
Right. That's right. That's right. Cher's still around.
Yeah, I know.
Now, we're talking about classical music and everything. I think I've mentioned this before, but I got this album. It's the Warsaw Concerto.
Oh, wow.
And it's, I was surprised it was on Deutsche
That's
Grammophon.
Polish. That's Polish. Warsaw is in Poland.
Well, actually, you think it is, but it's not.
What?
You know what? It's English, actually.
Oh,
and it's not even really serious type of classical music. No, I mean, I'll tell you what happened. Yeah. There's a reason why it's English. You're going to love this. Yeah. It was written for a Polish character in a war movie in the 1940s. Oh, okay. The name of the movie is called Moonlight Squadron. Oh, okay. And no one really remembers this movie. It's a good movie, but it's a very serious war film made in the 1940s. And the guy who wrote the score, like the John Williams type or Mike Steiner or one of those, he wrote, because the guy was, I think, a pianist or something. He wrote a piece of classical music for this movie, and because they were like fighting against Poland or something, or the Poland was somewhere in the World War II. I don't think England fought Poland. England defended Poland, but Poland. So anyway, but it was all English, and it's called the Warsaw Concerto. Okay, and it's very good music. It's only about like 8 or 9 minutes long, but it's very so you know, like you said, people think it's a serious piece of classical music. People think it has to be Warsaw, like people think of Chopin being from Poland. So most people. So anyway, and I always like to tell this story. Was that when I used to be a classical music DJ in Charlottesville, there was this woman that used to always call me and request. I was good at requests. People would like hum music to me, and I knew what to play for them, because a lot of people don't know classical music, the names of them. Yeah. So she said, "Can you play the Warsaw Concerto?" I said, "Yeah, I'll play it. And I played it for probably 3 times that whole year. Right. Okay, you can't play it all the time. Right. Classical music, you don't play all the time. You just play it when you can. So I told somebody at the station this, and said, "Who do you know who?" They said, "Do you ever get any weird requests?" I said, "Yeah, I get a request for the Warsaw Concerto all the time." She goes, "Yeah, you know that's the woman who claims to be Anastasia Romanoff." She thinks it's from Eastern Europe, this music, and she loves it so much. She might not be right in the head, but I don't think she was. In fact, DNA, after she died, they did DNA in some way and found out that she was an imposter. She wasn't the original Alexandra Romanov, who might have survived the Russian Revolution. Yeah. You know, that has been a myth for many years. There's a couple of movies. There's a cartoon, a Disney cartoon. Mm-hmm. There is a musical on Broadway called Anastasia. Yeah. And let me tell you the ending of all of them. They in Vienna or wherever it takes place, when they find this woman, like a homeless woman who claims to be Anastasia Romanoff, they do some sort of test, and not DNA test. This is back in probably the 1930s, and they find out that she is not Anastasia Romanoff. So when they found the same woman living in Charlottesville, Virginia, she got married to an American man, and they moved to Charlottesville, Virginia. She wasn't that woman wasn't Anastasia Romanoff. Right. They actually claim that the royal family or the Russian government or whoever powers that be don't want to say that this woman survived, because they don't want to pay literally billions of dollars to this person who's the heir to all this fortune and everything. So it's best that it's better that they have it. So Anastasia I'd like to think she was Anastasia, and if she were returned to power in Russia, she would have picked me. I don't know, as a, as a minister of having fun or something. I don't know what, because I was her favorite DJ. I said, you know, that would the end of Anastasia would have been really great. The Broadway show or any of them, but certainly the Broadway show, they could have ended it with a new scene in Charlottesville, where she meets her favorite DJ, classical music DJ, and then the Hugh Jackman or Arnold Schwarzenegger walks out. I'm I'm Kaye Lazar. Do you want to hear the Warsaw Concerto? All right, so I was very happy to get this CD of the Warsaw Concerto, because you don't really see it sold that much or even hear it so much anymore. And then I'll always remember this was the fake Anastasia Romanoff's favorite music. All right, you like a lot of classical music?
I do.
Who are your favorite composers?
Chopin, Debussy, Beethoven, Mozart, Tchaikovsky, all of them.
Yeah, right. Tell Tchaikovsky the news.
Yeah. I got
the Nutcracker Suite.
Yeah, I got a bunch of classical records from a friend of mine the other day.
There you go.
And they got a lot of poetry in them and all that too. So.
Oh, okay.
Poetry records, classical records.
Oh, you got poetry records.
Yeah.
Did they have music in them?
I haven't really actually listened to them yet, but you know, I can't wait to hear them though.
I remember listening to a poetry record when I was a kid, thinking that, oh man, this is going to be boring and dull. But then I kind of listened to it like it was a comedy album.
Yeah.
You know, like one of the Bob Newhart albums or something. And then it's made all the sense. Oh, this is cool. And I think a few of those poetry records I listened to a lot when I was a kid. Like Dylan, there was one of Dylan Thomas. I remember. I think it was the real Dylan Thomas narrating. You know.
Yeah, I got one. I got one that's got Michael Redgrave in it.
Oh, Michael Redgrave. Okay.
Yeah.
I remember we would have there'd be all these albums when I was a kid of sonnets from Shakespeare or speeches from Shakespeare, and they'd have people like John Gielgud narrating them. I mean, giving the voice to them, and they were very good. They were very interesting.
I can't wait to listen to them.
Oh yeah. Now all that stuff is on YouTube. You don't have to listen to it anymore. Now I also have here Michael Crawford.
Oh, he's really good. You all should listen to him.
Yeah. There's a picture.
Well, he was the original Phantom.
He's the original Phantom from the Family Opera, from the Andrew Lloyd Webber Family Opera.
Yes.
Michael Crawford was one of those people that was always around. He was always working. He did a show called Barnum, which was very good, by Cy Coleman. He did the English. He did a lot of the English versions of shows. And when they came to America, someone else probably played the part. Right. But I remember the first time I saw Michael Crawford was in a movie. He did a little singing, but he wasn't the main star. It was called A Funny Thing Happened on the Way to the Forum.
Oh, okay.
And he plays the young man who's in love with the girl in the House of Pleasure. Lycus's House of Pleasure. And he sings a little bit in there. But I remember the movie I saw had Zara Mostel and Jack Gilford and Phil Silvers and even Buster Keaton was in it. But they were all old men when I was a little kid when I saw this movie. He looked like a guy like 20 years old, so I was kind of rooting for him to do well. I didn't know years later that would be Michael Crawford. And Michael Crawford, does these musicals, but the Family Opera just put him over. I mean, now it got to the point where you didn't want to see the Family Opera, at least in the early days, unless he was in it. Yeah, he was just so good. He brought it to New York too, and Michael Crawford. This album is pretty good. I tell you, this album is different from most like soundtrack albums you get. He sings. Okay, now there's songs from Family Opera that everyone knows, like The Music of the Night and those songs. But trying to think of the others. And then he sings them so well. But a lot happens when these guys become popular. They record albums where they don't sing those songs. They sing all the shows they wish they were in, and they sing. He sings a song from Les Mis here.
Yeah.
And he sings
Memory from Cats.
He sings "Cat," the memory from
Yes.
Cats.
Yes.
You know, the great song, and he was never in Cats.
Touch me, it's so easy to leave me all alone in the memory of the days in the sun.
Yeah.
Now you touched me and understand what happiness is. Let the memory just be gone.
Yeah, now we're talking.
Yes.
Where were you in that movie? You should have been in there.
I would like to be in the movie, but you know,
Well, memory
I haven't
and
been in it yet.
well, he sings a song from
Phantom of the Opera, of course.
no. That's the whole point. Nothing from Phantom of the Opera. I think
Okay.
the idea is you want to hear him sing Phantom of the Opera, go buy another record, not this one, not this CD. And he sings like "What'll I Do,"
Oh, that
and
one,
by
yes.
Irving Berlin. He sings
What'll
lovely.
I do when you are far away and I am blue? What I'll do.
There you go. Yeah, that's a very sad song that's written by
Yeah.
by Irving Berlin. I think his wife died the weekend he wrote it. So he was actually it was actually a poignant. It's like the saddest song. Yeah. I think he had a child die around Christmas time. So Christmas was not a very happy time for him. He was Jewish, but he wrote White Christmas.
Yeah.
So even the song he wrote, White Christmas, has a bit of a longing and sadness to it. It's not a happy Christmas song. There's another song on here. Oh, In the Still of the Night by Cole Porter.
Yeah.
And there's there's a what I was trying to think. There's a song from Into the Woods on here.
Oh yes.
Yeah, and we were in Into the Woods.
Yes.
So there's and there's a medley of songs from West Side Story in here.
Yes.
And West Side Story. Oh, the musical's coming out in about a month or so.
Yes, I so want to see that. I think it's coming out on December 10th. From what we read. So.
Well, I won't see it till January. I'm gonna wait for the crowds to die down.
Yeah.
I hate going to see them. If I go to a crowded movie theater, they're always kicking my seat behind me and yammer, like film critics behind me. So I always try to avoid.
I want to be in a America. I want to be in America, and I want to be in America.
Da 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 America. Rita Moreno.
I want to go back to San Juan. I know you are about to get on. Bye bye.
Yeah, isn't that good?
Yeah.
Bring
down the tables and shine shoes.
This one is going to be different. This new West Side Story is going to have all Latino actors in it.
Yeah.
Meaning that the last one, I think Rita Moreno was the only one. Everyone else was
like
whiteface.
Yeah. Well, the extras that were with Rita Moreno were kind of Puerto Rican.
Not even sure about that. They're just dancers. But this new version, they're getting very weird. Now casting, they want to cast like for example, when I see cowboy movies as a kid, all the Indians were played by paleface.
Right.
I think Dances with Wolves was like the first movie where Indians played Indians. And Native Americans actually were in a movie called The Searchers, which that was a big deal. But the main chief, the villain, was a white guy wearing lots of war paint.
Just like Love is a Bitty Splinter thing.
Yeah.
The 1950s version, Jennifer Jones plays a Chinese.
Yeah, well, that wouldn't fly anymore. They even got mad in the movie Forrest Gump, because they thought the guy that Gary Sinise played with no legs, they should have cast an actor with no legs. Which maybe they may have at a point. He says, why does the guy with two legs have to get to play the one part that comes up for us, with legless actors, and I didn't get the part. There's a very funny skit I once saw with Peter Cook and Dudley Moore, and it was very funny. He comes out in a raincoat auditioning for the part of Tarzan, and he the way he had it was the raincoat was all buckled up, and he was holding he had one of his arms out, and he was holding the other leg, and he was just hopping around. He goes, "I'm here to play Tarzan," and the other guy was trying to let him down easy. He goes, "Listen, if anybody auditions for this part that has two arms and two legs, he may get the part. But if no one has two arms, two legs, you definitely have the party.
Oh my gosh, this is kind of similar to what
Yeah.
I saw on YouTube last night.
Yeah.
I subscribed to the Saturday Night Live
Oh yeah.
page on YouTube.
Yeah.
And it was a new episode where these two guys were auditioning to play Prince.
Oh, I saw that.
Oh
Yes.
my god, it was so funny. I like died laughing
It was.
because at first, the two guys were like, the judges were like, act like Prince, do so and so. And they were like, da 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 da. Ah! And then this like other guy comes out of nowhere because he thought, the he thought the other kind of Prince.
Yeah.
But
Oh, that was It was Daniel Craig dressed as like a Shakespearean prince. He was, I'm here to play the prince. But
they were like, but the judges were like, oh, this is not the kind of Prince. It's a Prince where he's a singer, and they're doing a biography or something like that.
well,
It was so funny. Oh my god, I cracked up laughing. I want to see that again.
the joke of that was when it was a very hit hard was there were two actors. One was Kenan Thompson,
Oh yeah,
who
he's
is
funny. I like him.
who's African American.
Yeah.
The other was Rami Malek,
Yeah.
who played of course played Freddie Mercury.
Yeah.
Okay, and they both wore the Prince costume.
Yeah.
But the Kenan Thompson character was black,
Yeah.
but did not look at all like
Yeah,
Prince.
yeah.
But the Rami Malek character was kind of dark complected like Prince was.
Yeah.
And looked almost exactly like Prince, but said,
Yeah.
we can't hire you because you're white.
Yeah.
We're going to have to hire the guy who doesn't look like Prince to play Prince.
Yeah.
And that actually hit home with me a little bit because a few years ago when Prince died, that Halloween I dressed up as Prince and it was a very good costume. But I was smart enough because Prince and I almost have the same coloring, even though he's African American and not African American. I didn't wear any makeup to make myself look darker. I just grew the mustache and wore the wig and and wore the costume and I was good enough as Prince. So if you're going to play Prince or Michael Jackson, don't just wear the costume and maybe the wig. Don't try to look too exactly like them because you're just going to get in a lot of trouble.
Right. That episode I wanted to tell you about was so funny.
It was hilarious.
In case you haven't seen it, oh my god.
We'll probably put in the links.
Yeah.
So it was. Thanks for having me here and on the Mary the Mary Elizabeth. I think it's just the Mary Elizabeth variety hour.
Yeah.
So thanks for having me here.
Yes, absolutely. And thank you all for joining in. And may God bless you. And there's something special in my heart I wanted to put out there. Some of the parts from the show are dedicated to Kevin's mother, Sheila Helen Harkin Kravitz.
There you go.
She was a wonderful lady to us.
Yeah.
And, she was special to me too. Because God, put her, with me for a reason.
There you go.
And I knew her a few years, and she was a wonderful lady, and we just wanted to donate. Not donate. I'm sorry. We just wanted to dedicate this particular show to her.
This came out of nowhere. Thank you so much.
Amen. Thank you so much. And
well, thanks for having me here. Thanks for all the nice words about my mom.
May God bless you.
But we're still around.
That's right.
And we're going to do more shows.
That's right.
Okay.
Exactly.
Take it away.
God bless you. You have a good evening.